Hello everyone, Guyan here from Genome Studios with another O3DE Intensive. Now these intensives are geared around people who are already quite familiar with game development and or seeking to better understand how to make games with O3DE. So if you haven't done any of the basic tutorials and stuff like that, I am basing the information on these tutorials off the assumption that you have a fairly clear knowledge of, the starting information. Now, this tutorial, or this intensive in particular, is about physics and the tick bus and timings and things. So the very first thing before I even start explaining is to pull up the tick bus and components O3DE documentation. Because it gives you this handy little chart here of customizing your tick order, and that is what we're going to get at. But before we get to that, I'm going to dive in a little bit with a follow-up from last intensive, which is when I click play, I can move my character, but the camera doesn't do anything, and this is just absolutely killing me. I mean, like, you need a game, right? So we're going to start with that. So we're going to go and we're going to do a global events this time, just for funsies. So we're going to start a new script events, and we're going to call this one global camera events. And then we can put this in camera events category. So that when we have like local camera events, they can also go in that thing. And contrary to the last tutorial, the address type will remain none. And so in this case, we're going to make one function that's going to be pretty straightforward, and it's going to be set for camera follow target. No return value, it doesn't matter. And then the one parameter we're going to give is the follow target. Follow target. And we're going to go save. And this is going to be global camera. Just for fun, global camera events. I'm putting this in my next tutorial folder. So now we have the global camera events, and we have a camera, and we have our player controller. So what does this all do? So we're going to go on our camera, and we're going to add a component, a script canvas component. And we're going to start a script canvas, and we're going to click Control N if we have the window open already, and we've got our untitled here, and we're going to click Control Shift Save to create that script, and this is going to be core camera, or let's go camera target follower. That's better. So guess what? Camera target follower can get set camera follow target. There we go. And we can receive this. And as you can see, contrary to the last intensive, there is no source address in the top corner of this event, which means that it's global. So anyone who is looking for set camera follow target can see it. And so here we're going to just make a local one called my target, my follow target. Oh, I hate doing the my. I'm just going to call it follow target. And then we can go set follow target. Pretty straightforward little event here. And the nice thing about this is that depending on how crucial it is to have utmost control of your camera, you can use this command from anywhere. And that's what's so powerful about global events. I don't need to actually have a reference to the camera. I can just say, hey, the camera, that's the camera for the game, right? Like, so then, well, that's great and dandy and stuff like that, but how do you send it? Well, back in our player controller, when we do the graph start, we already have our target unit because we're not doing any programmatic generation of any of that stuff. So I just branch out a new thing, and I can go set camera follow target, send that, and I'm going to set that to my target unit, not myself. So, hey camera, follow my target unit because I'm the player controller, right? Um, and then, just for the sake of the intensive, we now have our follow target, so we can go tick on tick, and then we can go get world transform for our follow target, and then we can go set world transform for us, and we're making our world transform the same as our follow target. So this is the camera target follower, blah, 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 blah. And now we want to add camera target follower to our camera. And hopefully when we start, it should be, oh, we didn't get it. We didn't get it. Let's see. Camera has camera target follower. Player controller has a unit entity. Oh, and see, this is an important step. Oh, my editor broke. No. Let's go back into these intensives and get back to it. I like to leave some of this stuff in because, I'm just doing this off the seat of my pants, and this is supposed to kind of showcase operating the tool. Of course, this is stuff that's going to be improving as we go, and in fact, plenty of this information might start to become, dated. So always keep tabs on this new information and all that stuff. And let's get back into this controller prefab. So we have our controller, we have our entity that is a unit. Does our camera have the script camera target follower? Yep. And so what we are having troubles with is that our camera target follower has the set camera follow target. It's got all this stuff, but when the game starts, some of these things aren't started yet. So we have to go time delay, and I like to just do one tick. Sometimes you need to do more. And then I click done, so that after the one tick it will set the camera follow target. So that's a good start. And then, well, let's just see if that works at first. There we go. Now the camera is following our guy. But as you can see, it's kind of stupid that the camera is literally on the target's foot. So let's do a little bit better. I'm going to take the camera follow target and I'm going to cut it. And I'm going to make I'm going to make an entity, and we're going to call it mock camera rig, because the camera rigs don't work currently in this version. And now we're going to paste the camera target follower to it. So now this one's getting the global message of, hey, follow this target. So what do? We put the camera inside. And now we're seeing that the camera is in some, bizarre positioning. So we can just go in here and click reset transform values. So it's 0, 0, 0, 0. So now our mock camera rig and our camera are in the same position. But we want the camera to be behind our character. So the rig is going to be where the character is, and the camera is going to be, 1 up. Now let's go 2 up, and then like 3 back. Oh, that's forward. 3 back. So now when the mock camera rig goes to the feet of our character, our camera will be naturally offset by up and back, and we'll see now we have our camera following. Very cool. I'm going to go into my unit, and I'm going to go to his speed, and I'm going to make it 60. Let's see if this works any better. Yeah, look at this. We're flying. Zoom. Okay, great. So that's working great. So now you have this camera, and it's following and all these things. Actually, it actually looked quite good. That's pretty good. So let's go into the meat and potatoes of this. Let's say, for example, we want to teleport the character forward when we click the jump button, which I set up in the last tutorial, but you can do any kind of input. You can do, a teleportation pad in the world, so long as you can trigger it from somewhere. We've got our player controller. So what we're going to do is, just for fun, we're going to go set world translation of our target unit, and we're going to get world transform from our target unit, and then we're going to get forward from our transform. So now we know what forward is, and it's going to be at a scale of 1, just so it's a direction. And then where are we at? Set world translation, we've got our forward. And so then what we want to do is we're going to just get forward. We're going to go multiply by number. And we're going to multiply that so that it's 10 meters ahead of us. And then we're going to, I'm pretty sure this is all correct, get world translation from our target unit. And we are going to add our forward vector by 10, and then that's going to translate us forward. And this is going to happen when we press the jump button. Let's see if this works. Validation, no, all of them are gone. Let's see, so we've got our character and we're going to teleport forward. So then let's see, get world transform, we're going to do a side branch and we're going to go print. Oops, let's skip this print here and go over here to get forward. Oops. Can bring that out here, and we're going to bring the value here. And we're going to go unit forward, save. And then we're going to go translation, right? We just got the world translation. We're going to go print. We're going to go unit current translation. We're going to go save. Oops. So then we're going to see that like a million messages. We're not seeing any messages. Oh, right, because this is just when I click jump. Sorry. Right, we've got those. What did I do? So the current translation is correct. The current forward is something. What's happening to us here? Get current translation. So then we're adding them together, and we're going to go print, and we're going to go new translation 10 forward. And you go save. And so then when we click jump, that should be at the very bottom. So then we go, current translation is x.4, y5, and z.5. And then we can see that the 4.5 for the x is a little bit more, and then the y is 15 instead of 5, so that's where the 10 times 10 went. And that's because the unit forward was y1. So then that's that. So that's all correct. Well, let's see. I'm going to take this shader ball. I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to put it 10 forward, and then I'm going to put another one 20 from that. So then we have a little bit of a measure. We're going to click save. Going to go. We see our measures, and I'm going to click spacebar. Oh, and I teleported. Oh, but But then I tried to move, and if you see, I'm going forward, 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 and then I try to move my physics character, and then I'm back at where I was. So if I'm running, I'm going to click jump, and I'm going to run, and I'm going to click jump, and you can sometimes see, oh, there's a flutter. Do you see that? I'm teleporting and teleporting back, teleporting back, but if I just click and not move. And so what that is because we're transforming and translating and stuff like that, our transform of our unit here, the transform. But the physics, which is happening by the physX processor and stuff at fixed time step, whatever, max time step, these various physics calculation details, it's preserving the physics model even though you moved the object in translation space, in like math space. So then when you start continuing the physics model, it just resumes where you were because no physics can't just have you teleport somewhere because you could be teleporting into the center of a lead block, right? You have to actually move into the center of it because it has to pass through colliders to get there. So this is kind of problematic. I mean, you wanna walk into like a Unreal teleporter and have it send you somewhere else in the world, or even change a level and have your character start at the door where the level loaded, right? It's important to be able to teleport forward like this. And not, teleport back to the void where your unloaded level is. So how do you fix this? Well, first and foremost, when you're doing something like set world translation and stuff, you need to actually take one step to disable physics. And so we're on the player controller, so what we actually want to do is disable the target unit physics and set world translation, and then enable physics and target unit. This may not fix it all though, because of other timing things. So we're here, we have our thing, and we click forward, and now I move, and it worked. So now when I'm running sideways, I can additively teleport even though I'm moving. So that starts to decouple physics and time. And it's funny, I've been waiting for this to happen, but I might have to do it synthetically. And it's because I already did it in the past tutorial. We were supposed to, without question, get this tick order of 200 here. And that's for a reason. If I delete this tick order, click save, and this one doesn't have it, this might make it a little bit more apparent. Let's see. Oh, it almost was happening. This is actually doing a really good job. Is that certain things can fall out of timing. So for example, if you're trying to, let's say, well, here actually, we're on the target follower, right? So if we get tick order and we go, I'm going to do input, which is 75. This might make it more apparent. Let's see what else. Well, we can set our player controller to a different tick. Get tick order. We're going to set this to 150. I don't know. Trying to break this right now. It's not doing great. Oftentimes, the camera will actually fail to follow your character. And these teleportations will cease to work. Or you may not have your input correct. Oops. You might not have your input correctly. And I've already mitigated all these things. Like if you just take this set X and you don't store it in a move input, you just send it. these input handlers happen at a different rate. So we store it, we cache it in a movement input, and we pass it over on tick. Because if we are to, say, take this input move, this also gets complicated because all of our inputs kind of join here. We want them to process all the inputs simultaneously before deciding to do this, but we'll just say this for now. So now we're not sending the move orders on tick, we're sending it on as the information comes in. And so then it's still working. Well, I guess I just did a really good job. I used to have so many issues with chattering camera following, and this looks so together. So yes, ultimately, I guess this intensive kind of seems like a doofy wash here, because of all of these things just working out really good. But I learned in previous times that you'd want to do a lot of the stuff on physics time, so the camera follow, telling the control unit to move at the time of physics. You can also do this at input time, so it happens before physics, and then physics will just take it. Everything will fire and have the data in the order that you need it to be at the time of it happening, and you should mitigate some chattering issues that happen. I could probably pull it up on my Discord here if we just go up to my news way to the beginning here. Character controls and rotation. Hello. I'm gonna mute myself here. Come on. Let's see if I... Oh, here we go. See, if you look, the character is moving, and the physics step is moving the character, but the camera and the rendering of the mesh are happening at a different rate. And so then actually setting these orders, keeping the cache of those values prevents this from happening where you're stuttering, where values cease or have the wrong value as per what the time is of the thing. So that's what this tutorial was meant to mitigate, although I just couldn't replicate the problems. But I mean, that's good. That means my tutorial is working plenty. And so then the last conclusion here is just if you're having those issues of alignment, it has to do with this tick order that you seek to align with by this get tick order on top of your tick here. And that is to allow what input is on 75, game updates, I'm not exactly sure what that is at 80. Animation is at 100, so when you want to update animation or like check when animations are at their current play, you know, rate or time or whatever. Physics is for your phys-x, so anything to do with impulses and gravity and drag and linear linear impulse versus rotational impulses. And then attachment components. So, and I'm not exactly sure what attachment is, but I kind of assumed it's stuff that you need to do after physics is done. And then there's UI and last and stuff like that. So definitely something to be aware of and to know this is always a factor at play with the order at which things are running and at what times data is present and at what times the data isn't present. So with that, you should have a follow camera that used a global event to know who to follow, and you have your character that is now being followed, and you can teleport, and it actually maintains the teleportation properties without fail. So hopefully this keeps you understood. And again, the one key detail here is that translation and physics can't be going on simultaneously. You have to do one or the other. Um, and so if you need to do things in between, you need to have a little system of swapping in and out. And one last thing to notice is that when you have a physics thing, like if I'm moving sideways, if I stop my gravity, um, to do something and I teleport someone somewhere else or what have you, um, you'll remain in that velocity wherever you like arrived in your teleportation. So as part of your teleporter, you may also want to uh, oh, I guess I don't have a teleporter script. I've got just here. You may want to, before you enable physics or right after, you may want to go set linear velocity and set it to 0, and that's target unit, so that wherever you are when you teleported, so if I'm sliding and I let go of move and I click teleport, you teleported and now your physics kind of starts scrubbed fresh and new, as opposed to what was happening before where I was still sliding when I teleported. So if I move and I'm sliding and I let go and I teleport, there's no new input, so I don't start moving after I've teleported. You may want to preserve. Someone gets hit, you teleport them somewhere, and then they have to continue to fly because they've been hit. You want to preserve that velocity, or alter it, or do whatever you want to do from it. Um, so good info to know. Decouple your physics and your translation, and whatever you can do it like for your character, for your physics character, do it through the physics, and only manually force stuff if you have to, because when you are translating, it doesn't take the physical properties into factor, so you can just translate into walls or translate through the floor or things like that, because the system doesn't work for that, and that's why they're decoupled. So anyways, thanks so much for this intensive. I hope it teaches you something. I hope you got to learn a little bit about the global events from last intensive. And uh, I hope that you have a good control now of when your character is doing what and why you're looking at the data that you're looking at. And now we have character um, movement, camera following, and spacebar reaction, although that's teleportation, not jumping. You can just do a force throw, velocity upwards. Um, and so then on to the next intensive once we get there. So cheers, have a great time making games. I love it. One last reminder is, this is all meant to be informative, not so much a step-by-step tutorial. So this is not in any way meant to be a complete character controlling system, but serve to be seeds by which you can then extend your own logic and functionality from. Of course, you can have an orbit camera, you can have a camera separate from following your characters, in the form of an RTS and things like that. So this is not the end-all be-all of how to do it, but now we know about timing and play order or execution order of things, and that physics and translation are separate things. So hopefully you now have a pretty good concrete way of understanding your character relative to the world and the physics, and you can start having some fun with O3DE. Let me know if you have any questions, concerns, feedback, or better instructions, and maybe I'll try some of these less avant-garde and more structured when we have more concrete ways of telling these instructions. Thanks for coming. Bye.